What's up, Sneaky Nation? Sneaky P here with my thoughts after 5 weeks on the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, most of you guys are aware the 49ers are my favorite team. I have been watching every game they have played, and I've been wanting to make this video for a little bit, but obviously I've been struggling, man. Just the 49ers have been depressing me this year, but I'm going to do it now. Thoughts after 5 weeks for the San Francisco 49ers. And, you know, I don't feel like I'm watching the 49ers, if I'm being honest. And that's because our entire offense just about, it's the 49ers backup players. All of our starters are injured. And it's really tough to get a good feel for what this team could possibly be in the future when you're really not seeing the future of the team playing. Jimmy Garoppolo going down with that injury sucked. I want to talk about this in two ways, pre-Garoppolo injury and post-Garoppolo injury. But just the general idea of what I'm dealing with first is it's not just Jimmy Garoppolo. It is our starting quarterback, Garoppolo, our starting running back, who got injured like the week before the season began, and Jerick McKinnon. Matt Breida has been dealing with injuries throughout the season. He's been playing well, but he's been like a game-time decision every week, and then he plays the game, and he gets banged up in the game again, and then it just rolls over. I don't know how healthy he has been yet, but he missed pretty much all of yesterday's game. So it's our starting quarterback, our starting running back, our backup running back. Marquise Goodwin has barely been healthy. So our number one wide receiver, Pierre Garçon, hasn't been very healthy. He went out of yesterday's game. He ended up coming back for a little bit, but Pierre Garçon has not been himself. And I think, I don't know if it's the nagging injuries. I don't know if age has caught up with him, but he hasn't been good. And then Dante Pettis, who has kind of been our number 3 receiver over Trent Taylor, which I'm shocked about. I guess I don't know this based on the snap count, but it seems like Pettis is on the field a lot more than Taylor from what I've noticed. So you got our starting quarterback, starting running back, backup running back, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. George Kittle has mostly been playing, but he's been playing a little bit banged up. Juice has been playing. And then you look at the offensive line, and they, pretty much the entire offensive line is a game-time decision every week. Joe Staley has been injured. Mike McGlinchey's been injured. Garnett's been hurt, but he's always hurt. Person's kind of been banged up a little bit. Richburg is getting banged up. Literally everybody on our starting lineup outside of Juice has either missed a game or been playing hurt. Literally every single one. It's absolutely nuts. And so I look at yesterday's game and I see them go out there and have 5 turnovers, and it's like, I can't be super mad about it. We're playing our 4th string running back in Mostert, and we're playing our backup quarterback in Beathard, and he's throwing to backup receivers and Kendrick Bourne, and I believe Richie James was in there for a little bit. I mean, it's like a no-win situation for this 49ers team, and it's just been tough to watch, man. It's been so tough to watch. But as much as that has been an issue, the bigger issue for me is the defense right now. The defense has been bad all season, and they don't really have injuries to blame. Not to the same extent, anyway. The secondary has been banged up a little bit, but the biggest issue in the secondary hasn't been the players that have been hurt, which is the safeties Colbert Tartan, and then, of course, Sherman, who's been out. The biggest issue has been Witherspoon, and he's been playing hurt, too. He's been questionable in a game-time decision, but Witherspoon has been awful. And I'm going to come back to this. So first, let's talk about the first few weeks before Garoppolo got hurt. And I was talking more about everything going on then. But honestly, they were just making bad mistakes. They were dropping the ball too many times. They were not tackling anybody. They were playing a losing brand of football. And you just cannot win in this league if you're going to be making as many drops as the receivers have been and not tackling anybody. I know going into this last week, they had given up the most broken tackles in the league, I would imagine by a significant margin. And I'm not exaggerating when I say the first 4 weeks of the season, that was the worst tackling defense I have ever seen in my life. Not exaggerating at all. It was more common to see the receiver or running back break 2+ tackles than it was to see the 49ers defense get a tackle on the first go. It was absolutely terrible. And like I said, our linebackers, Reuben Foster was suspended the first 2 games. I kind of thought things would change when he came back, but Foster really was missing a few tackles as well. It's been bad all around. And the other thing, our defense is doing pretty good. Our run defense has been pretty great this season. I think they struggled in the San Diego Chargers game, but other than that, they've looked pretty good throughout. The other 4 games, I've been pretty okay with what they've done. So our run defense is looking good, but the tackling has got to get better. If the tackling could get better, our run defense could be absolutely elite, because a lot of Melvin Gordon's yards came on when he was breaking tackles and getting a lot of extra yards there. So the potential of the front 7 as far as run defense goes is good, but the tackling has got to be improved all around from everybody on the team. The biggest issue with the front 7 is that they get no pressure on the quarterback at all. At all. I mean, DeForest Buckner will get some pressure. Every once in a while, Marsh will get some pressure. Ronald Blair can get pressure from time to time, but it's not happening enough at all. And if there's one singular bright side that can come from the Jimmy Garoppolo injury, it is that the 49ers are likely going to be picking in the top 5, maybe even the top 3. We just got blown out at home by the Arizona Cardinals. So if there's one bright side, it's that maybe we can finally get that guy to complement DeForest Buckner and get pressure from the edge. And if they can do that, that's going to help out tremendously for our whole defense. Because if we get that pass rusher, our front 7 should at least have the potential to become elite with Fred Warner and Reuben Foster there. And if they can get that tackling down. The secondary, they're not getting turnovers, but they're kind of in a tough spot because obviously the quarterback has all day to throw it. But the biggest issue for me in the secondary, and really the only issue for me in the secondary, not the only, but the main one, is Ahkello Witherspoon. For the 2nd straight season, we have seen the 49ers have a rookie cornerback look really, really good, and then come out in year 2 and be the absolute worst corner in the NFL. Last year it was Rashard Robinson. This year it's Ahkello Witherspoon. And with Rashard Robinson, I got it, because Rashard Robinson doesn't seem to have the right mentality. He kind of seems like, he's been super athletic his whole life. He never really had to work hard to be good. I'm not saying he didn't work hard, but I don't think he had that work ethic. The 49ers coaches called him out for not having a work ethic, and that's not the case with Witherspoon. Witherspoon is a hard worker. I'm hoping Witherspoon had a pretty good week 1 against the Vikings. He gave up a touchdown, but he was in pretty good coverage. All he had to do was turn his head around, and he could have swatted it away. It was just a really good throw, honestly. But he had a pretty good week 1 against the Vikings. However, he got hurt, and he was questionable going into week 2, and he just got torched by the Lions. Stafford was absolutely picking on him the entire game, and it was bad. And then he was hurt going into week 3, and I don't know that he's fully gotten healthy. So in my mind, I'm really, really hoping that this injury is affecting him a little bit more than we would like to admit, and he's going out there and trying to rough through it, but he's struggling a little bit because of it. If the injury is not a factor and he is just struggling like this anyway, then that kind of hurts the 49ers, because they are going to not only need to find a replacement for Sherman, who's been great this season, by the way. Sherman has been phenomenal when he's healthy. He missed a game. Did he miss 2 games? I think he just missed 1 game. A game and a half, whatever. But he's been great when he is on the field. Phenomenal. No complaints at all. But how long does he have with the 49ers? Next year it's another question. Will age catch up with him or not? So we'll definitely need to at least be in mind that we need to get a replacement for Sherman. But if Witherspoon is just this bad, we might need to get a replacement for Witherspoon too. Trying to get 2 starting corners in one offseason won't be too easy to do. Our safeties, I feel very comfortable with moving forward, though. It's really Witherspoon is the main issue, and then our tackling on defense. And then obviously we got to get somebody that can get pressure on the quarterback. But if we're going to have a top pick, there's a lot of pass rushers coming out in college. So we could definitely get our pass rusher. It's just about filling out the cornerback spot after that, and I think we could potentially have an elite defense moving forward. But obviously, a lot of stuff has to happen for that to work out. And then with the offense, Pierre Garçon's done. He has been absolute trash all season. I know he got a little bit banged up in this last game, but he has more drops this year alone than I saw him through 8 games last year. I think he had 3 or 4 drops in yesterday's game alone. I mean, it's been really bad. And I don't know if they're classified as drops on the stat sheet because 2 of those were pretty difficult catches. But they're catches that he has made throughout his career that he just has not been able to make this season at all. And it's not like he dropped 1 or 2 difficult catches. He's been dropping every single difficult catch he's had thrown his way this season. And that's pretty much what he was great at. He can make those catches in traffic for us last season. And he's not doing that at all now. I don't see how the 49ers can bring him back after this season unless he greatly turns it around. The biggest issue for the offense all year, though, not having Jerick McKinnon has sucked because he's so good out of the backfield in the receiving game. But Marquise Goodwin's been hurt all year. He's barely played. When he has played, he's been playing hurt. And he's really the one guy in our receiving core, not including George Kittle, the tight end, but the one receiver that can just get open whenever. I say whenever, obviously not every single play, but he can get open. And when defenses have to worry about that, it allows other receivers to get open. But without him, none of our receivers can win their matchups. And so if they're not open ever, you know, it's just tough for our offense to really do anything. Because even though Breida's been having success when he's on the field, teams are able to stack the box against him now. We don't have Garoppolo that can throw a receiver open because Beathard not very good at that. Although I will say, I think 3 of Beathard's interceptions haven't really been his fault. I think they've been off the hands of receivers. But overall, man, it's been rough. It's been really rough. Beathard just does not have... He's a good backup. I'm not saying he's a horrible backup. He's a good backup. But unfortunately, a good backup with no receivers to throw the ball to. And, you know, it's tough for them to do anything. And I think that's kind of the situation that he has been in. The one bright spot for the 49ers this year, of all the position groups outside of Matt Breida, obviously, because he is killing it. He averages 7.5 yards a carry on 49 runs. That's absurd. He's doing a great job. But the one bright spot has been our offensive line. And if you look at the games, the 49ers have given up a lot of sacks. 18 sacks through 5 games. We've only gotten 9 on the other side, so double. However, most of those sacks are the quarterback's fault. Jimmy Garoppolo was holding on to the ball for way too long, and honestly, he wasn't throwing it away when he could have, and he took a lot of sacks that way, whereas Beathard, he just has horrible pocket awareness, dude. Yesterday, I think he fumbled twice when the receiver was going on the outside. The rusher was going on the outside, and all he had to do was take one step inside, and he would have had more time to throw it, and he fumbled on both of those plays. And that has been a big issue with him. The offensive line, despite looking at the sack numbers, they've been doing a killer job both in the run game and a pretty good job in the pass game. It's really the quarterbacks that have been hurting them the most. They obviously have had a few plays where they gave up sacks legit, but overall, I've been pretty happy with them. But it's really tough to get super excited about this team when I don't feel like I'm watching my team. I'm watching the backups on offense. I'm watching our backups play. And I see the potential with George Kittle. He's been playing well. I said before the season, I think he is going to be a top 5 tight end at some point in his career. And if anything, his start to the season has justified that for me. He's going to have to improve his hands. He has too many drops right now, but he can get open all the time. He is an elite run blocker, so he has a ton of potential. Receivers, it's tough to judge them without Marquise Goodwin out there. We definitely need another receiver, though. That should be a priority next offseason. as well. Somebody that can complement Goodwin. And if you have two guys that can get open like that, man, it's going to make things easier. Because we got a lot of guys who I do like as complementary receivers in Trent Taylor, Kendrick Bourne, and Dante Pettis. But as the number 2 guy, none of those guys are there yet. Pettis might be able to get there one day, but his hands aren't very reliable yet. He has 3 catches on the season, and he has probably 3 or 4 drops on the season. So he's got to improve that. Overall, it's been kind of a depressing season as a 49ers fan, man. But, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. Hopefully we can stay healthy next year and we'll actually get to see what this team can do. But those are my thoughts on the 49ers through 5 weeks. I'll probably do a video like this every once in a while, as well as doing, obviously, the review uploads and stuff like that. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.